Joining us now is Domain's managing editor, Alice Stoltz. Morning, Alice. Thanks for being with us. Of course, people still do need to buy and sell property at the moment. So I suppose the question is, how is that changing?
Well, it's certainly having to evolve rapidly. You heard Evan say before, some people at the moment really are going to have to buy and have to sell whether they want to or not. But, the thing you need to remember is you don't need to physically see a property to be able to transact on it. And we can see agents are really rapidly adapting to that.
That's really interesting. So you could potentially do an open for inspection, like from your couch sort of thing?
Basically, yeah. And I think potential buyers hold a lot of the power in their hand. And you can do things like a virtual inspection and use interactive floor plans. We have them on the Domain app where you can actually see very clearly into certain rooms as you're going about. And I think the technology is really catching up with this now, thankfully, that people can really get a good sense of what a home is on.
That's fascinating. We're having a look now at what a virtual floor plan would look like. It's kind of almost like nothing I've ever seen before. So you're really able to kind of get into the nooks and crannies. Is that the idea from your desktop or your mobile?
That's exactly right. And you can sort of see where the light's coming in. You can then often zoom in on a certain area and think, what is that crack on the wall there? What's actually really going on there? And I think really savvy agents are encouraging vendors to really make sure the technology does support their listing, knowing that now people may not be able to walk through themselves. But I don't think that should deter people from thinking about buying a property though, just because you can't physically walk through it. Maybe it's actually better, you're not going to just be sort of swept away in the emotion of a property, and you might actually think, look at it deeply on paper and quite forensically, like see the distance from the train station, see how many rooms it does offer, is the orientation of the house correct? Because I think we both know, you walk through it and you think, I love it, I want it.
You certainly do.
It might hold people back a little bit.
Yeah, well, you get swept up, of course. I love this place, hardwood floors, high ceiling, all that sort of thing. But I suppose it's important to look at the black and white, the contract of sale. As you say, the geography of the thing is crucially important. You can get swept up in all that. But I am curious, if we're talking to an agent who's perhaps walking you through on FaceTime or something like that, wearing rubber gloves or whatever, can you still ask them, can you rattle that cabinet or whatever it is? I mean, can you get a bit of a look and feel?
Absolutely, Chris. And I think potential buyers really need to be really quite directive in what they're demanding of their agent and say, hey, mate, can you actually pull back there and walk through that doorway again? Or what was that area you just avoided there? And look, agents are always going to be willing to oblige if people are interested in the property. But I think you can do all that. And really savvy agents are embracing FaceTime at the moment. And I've seen many who will do potential interviews with potential vendors also via FaceTime. So you can get that sort of chemistry and a rapport with someone, and you have that dimension of the colour of actually seeing that person pitch to you in action, which, you're trusting this agent with such a massive, your biggest asset usually. You need to really challenge them on those things.
So I suppose it's about using the downtime that you'd be getting to scrutinise and analyse and try to understand the market.
Yeah, I think particularly people who are working remotely, people do have a different sort of amount of time on their hands at the moment. And I think it's a great time to think about researching. And even if you're not ready to pull the lever and buy right now, Evan's obviously flagged the uncertainty. If you're not ready to and you don't have to, there's no point in saying that you can't research, you can't think about looking up advice articles, looking up how do I renovate, what else can I do out there, I suppose. There's so much information available. And I think, it's a good time for people to track their home, see what they can actually do in the future, because we know there will be a rebound at some point, being ready to jump when that hits.
Of course, there are still 2,000 or so auctions around the country today. I mean, what sort of precautions are we likely to be seeing as that continues?
So we saw Dougal before, being really very quite sort of cleanliness is obviously going to be a high factor here. A lot of agents are donning face masks and they're really responding to what people want. Agents are never going to sort of say to a potential buyer, I'm not going to be involved. I mean, we all have to comply with this now. So they're all making adaptations. A lot of signatures are going over electronically now, more and more, But the industry, to the industry's credit, they really have kept up with that. You'll often see iPads at auctions, people signing documents, never often pen to pen anymore. So I think whatever people will need to do, they will do it. They will do at the moment.